And we're live. Hello, everybody. Sorry, we are a little bit late. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be watching us from. My name's Jacqui, and I'm here today with my mentor, Celina. Hi, Celina. How are you?
Hi, how are you, everyone? I'm good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. It's nice and sunny here. Weather's getting warmer. What about there?
It's the same. It's sunny, but it's a bit cool, which is good. Not really cold, but it's cool. So it's great.
Nice, awesome. So, everybody, for those who don't know me, my name is Jacqui. I live here in Perth, Western Australia. I'm a mum of three, and I used to work in the hospitality industry, but now in retail. And the reason why Celina and I are doing these go lives is so that you guys can get to know us a bit more better. And we also want to inspire and educate you about this digital business and how it could help you as well as a side hustle, a backup plan, or, down the track, it could be your main source of income. So that's why we are here today. And today's episode is all about we're talking about two topics. So the first one we're talking about is how the hospitality profession affect our lives. So, Celina, we'll start with you.
Sure.
Working as a FIFO.
So hello, everyone. I'm going to introduce myself. So good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whichever country you're watching from. Before I'm going to talk about this topic, let us know where you are watching from. Comment down below so we could say hi if you're watching live or if you're watching replay. So hello. So my name is Celina again. I'm living here in Newcastle, New South Wales. And I used to work, I'm a former FIFO chef, so in Perth, Western Australia. So how does the hospitality profession affect our lives? And one of the biggest personal challenges that hospitality employees face is maintaining a healthy and sustainable work-life balance. And I guess Jacqui would agree with that one. So
Yes.
What does that mean? So from late nights, irregular shifts, rush meal breaks at weird times, constantly working on our feet for 10 to 12 hours a day. And by doing that, all we have to do is to offer a great customer service with a smile to our customers and to our clients. And don't get me wrong, most personalities in the hospitality industry may like what they do, but it's so easy to fall into a poor health trap where you are working in a fast-paced, demanding work hours and too many, shift works, late nights, where it becomes a lifestyle rather than a profession. So those are one of the things that really affect our lives as an individual while working in the hospitality industry. And apart from that, it also affects our lifestyle out of work, especially. It affects our health, like maintaining a healthy and balanced diet. And I think Jacqui would agree with that as well, because when we are working in the hospitality industry, we normally have our breaks in odd times.
Yes.
If someone have a break at 12 o'clock for lunch, then some of us could have a break at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which is already a snack time for some of us.
Or if you're doing night shift, your breaks could be at 12 in the morning or 2 in the morning.
Yeah, 2 in the morning, which is already normally for normal people, you're already in bed by that time, and those are the things. And if you are working late night shifts, it also affects our health and our diet, because we fuel ourselves with caffeine,
Yes.
to keep ourselves awake. Which is, we drink how many cups of coffee. Sometimes we have to fuel ourselves with Red Bulls,
Chocolates.
what else? Chocolates, soft drinks,
Snacks.
anything that has caffeine, just to keep us awake, just to boost our adrenaline so that we can get through our shift. And that becomes as well a habit when we are outside of work. We can take
Yes.
it at home. And second one, also the time of request is so hard. You know,
Yes.
if you don't want to work in this certain time, because maybe let's say if you're going to pick up your child at childcare or at school, it's so hard because you're already there at work. No one's gonna cover you. It's very hard to take that time off, especially on holidays. And sleeping patterns change. You know, our sleeping patterns change because of our shift works. Some may be up at 5 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning to prepare breakfast at the cafe or at the restaurant or at the hotel or at the casino. And then late nights, you start at work at 10 o'clock, those things. And last but not the least is the less to no time with family. And
Oh, that's the most important. Yeah.
that's the most biggest challenge that hospitality employees face. And for myself, as a FIFO worker, I spend almost half of the year away from my family. In 1 month, I only get a week off. And me working in Western Australia and my family here is in New South Wales, it's not sensible or essential to spend $500 worth of airfare to just travel here for a week. And with me being one of the person who only supports my family that time, I would rather, give the money, send the money to them for them to pay rent, to pay bills, to buy food, all those kind of stuff that could help them. So basically, I've done that for how many years that I was only living by myself. And it's so hard when you're on the site in the mining site, because after your shift, you go in your room, in four corners of your room, all by yourself, not talking to anyone. And basically, if you talk with your workmates, there's nothing much you can talk about. It's just about work,
Work. Yeah.
and 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 it's different if you have someone that that where you can share all your personal stuff. Though you can share it with your workmates, but sometimes the trust and all this kind of stuff is so hard.
Yeah, you
So
don't want to.
yeah, the anxieties, the loneliness was just one of the things that affects my well-being as a person when I'm outside of work. And as what I've said a while ago, that some of these things becomes a lifestyle instead of a profession. It becomes our habit outside of work. So I remember I was just sharing this one with Jacqui a while ago when we went to a shopping center with my family. They always complain why I walk so fast. And it's because that's how I walk at work. You have to brisk walk, carry trays. You have to make sure that in 1 hour, this is the amount of job that you have accomplished, or else you will not be able to get out of work on time. And basically, that becomes a habit to me. Like I do it even I'm with my family. And those are one of the things that sometimes it's so hard to let go if you have done it, if you were doing it for quite a while. So yeah, it was so hard. Those are one of the things. And for me, I believe that apart from all other industries that provides customer service and better welfare for people, like healthcare industry, constructions industry, I considered hospitality as one of the difficult jobs in the world.
Yes.
Yeah,
It may be like front, like face on. It looks like a happy industry to
yeah,
be in. However,
yeah,
it's really
yeah,
hard and tiring, especially if you're having like a bad day but you've still got to put on that
yeah,
customer service face. It's
yeah.
so hard, and also when you're really tired, it's
Mm-hmm.
very difficult. But you've still got to
Yeah,
go through it. So
yeah, yeah.
understand.
With all the burnouts, and then you encounter customers that even if you were trying your best to give them a a great customer service experience, still
Experience.
it's
Yeah.
not enough for them.
Yeah.
You encounter these customers that are so fussy, that are so demanding, and for you, you were just doing your job, and with all the burnt out feeling that you feel, you can't actually treat them in a bad way. You have to,
Yes.
to swallow your pride, your ego
Yes.
when you're facing them. And those
That's
are the
true.
things that people don't see when they say, oh, she's only standing there cleaning tables. No, it's not like that. Oh, she's only a chef cooking food and stuff like that. No, it's not like that. It's different when you are behind those,
The behind the scene. Yeah.
behind the scenes. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
that.
reckon the hospitality industry is good if you're single and you really love that sort of thing because you do what you
Mhm.
want to do. But once you have a family, it's very difficult to juggle that shift work, long hours,
Mm.
as well as your family life. So I understand.
Yeah. And I think we have someone watching with us today. Hello, Ati
Oh, we
Dayan.
do.
Coach
Hi.
D.
Coach D. Hello, Coach D. Coach D. She
And
says,
she's
I agree.
yeah, I agree.
Hospitality is not family friendly.
Yeah, that's right. Because Coach D is also a chef.
She
If you
was a
wanna,
chef.
she
She
was a
was.
chef. Yes, she was a chef.
Yeah.
And yeah, so those are the things that people don't see. When that's why when I go out now, when I go out, when I eat out with my family, they always said, because when we finish eating, I try to stockpile the
Stack it,
plates.
clean it up.
And then they said, why you're doing that? Why you're cleaning it for them? And I said, I've been to that situation. And that's the
It
only
just
least
helps
we can
them.
do as a customer.
Yeah.
That's the only least we can do. At least put all our leftovers, or bones and stuff like that on one plate, and then you can stack the other one on the other side. So that's the thing that people don't see that we do for them. And it's so
Correct.
hard. Yeah. And I consider it as one of the difficult jobs, especially now with me that I have a 2-year-old daughter, and me growing up seeing my family too much committed with their jobs, and I used to be left alone with someone else is looking after me and my sister. So I told myself there's other way for me to be able to be a hands-on mom, aside from doing my job as a chef as much as I do. And now, one thing too that I haven't said is, when you're too committed with your job, like for myself, like cooking thousands and thousands of meals for other people, for thousands of people, when you finish your job and you go home to work, you don't feel like doing anything. And
That's true.
now it's just amazing, where I love cooking, and I'm not cooking for other people, I'm already
You're
cooking for
cooking
my
for your
family.
family,
Yeah.
which is a
Because
much better feeling.
yeah, yeah, it's a better match feeling, because you are offering your skills, your customer service to people that really appreciates you. Because
Yes.
there you just do it, show your skills, offer your skills, your knowledge to someone else, and take they get the benefit from it, and you only get paid, and then later on, still you're not good enough, you
We're
know
good. Correct.
so
We're all just
yeah.
numbers in the end. We're all just employee
Yeah,
numbers. So
yeah,
we're all
so
replaceable. Awesome. Yes, I
and
understand fully how you feel, especially with the sleeping patterns and the
yeah.
no family time. I really
Mhm.
understand that.
So basically, hospitality job, it becomes a lifestyle. It doesn't become a
Yes,
profession anymore for those people who are
correct.
working in the hospitality industry.
I'm
So
so
yeah.
glad I got out.
Me too.
I'm sleeping. I'm
5-0.
sleeping properly now. I go to bed at a
Yeah,
normal time.
yeah. That's right. And then you can go out on weekends. Sometimes you get jealous because you're stuck on weekends in the restaurant, or in the hotel, or in the casino. But now on weekends, you can plan a picnic or go to the park with your
Correct.
family. And those are
Yes.
the things that were taken away from us as hospitality workers, the time. And
Correct.
time can't be taken back, once you lose
No,
it, it's gone
yes,
forever.
it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Awesome. So now we go on to because you know how we're getting out of the pandemic. We'll talk
Yeah.
about how the pandemic actually affected the industry.
Mhm.
So with the pandemic, when we got locked down, it meant people weren't coming in to the country. So we weren't having
Yeah.
um, pretty much we weren't having business as much
Mhm.
as we would have had,
Tourist.
tourists coming through,
Tourist.
right? So
Closing borders and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah. So when we shut down, because both hubby and I we worked at the casino. So when we got shut down because we weren't essential enough. So we they didn't need us. So we got shut down. But I was lucky, I was still on maternity, but hubby was still working. So at that time, it was pretty stressful because it's like, where are you going to get your income from? What are you going to do? Everything's shut.
Yeah.
It's only, like the supermarkets, the gas stations, all those sort of stuff. So a lot of cafes, restaurants, they shut down, right? And
that's
then
true.
also even when it started to open back up, those businesses couldn't last.
Yeah.
So
true.
people working in that industry, working in those cafes, lost their job. So which is bad on them. Even with the airline industry, you see how many people
Laid off.
got laid off. I know someone from Playgroup, and she was a pilot, and she was like, "Oh, yep, I'm not flying because the pandemic." I was like, "Oh my god!" So, but so the pandemic really hit the industry really hard, especially with the small businesses. Yeah.
I've totally agreed with that, because even on the news now, even small business owners, even those small cafes, the owners are struggling to make ends meet for their business to flourish or for their business to keep going. So they ask for government to support, to cut down rents and stuff like that. But because of the pandemic, the economy of the country is also dropping, and they can't afford to give you discounts or whatsoever, on those rents. And people like workers who work for them got laid off, and they had family to feed. And try to imagine that this is a world problem. It's not just Australia. Luckily that the government
Everywhere.
in Australia are capable of supporting their people. They provide pandemic support
Relief. Yeah.
or relief, like for those who belongs to low income families. They get help from the government. But try to imagine if you're from third world countries and you own a business, or you're working for a business and you got laid off,
And you get nothing. You
and
get nothing.
you get nothing. Like that's the only difference, where here in Australia we're just so lucky that when you get sick, you don't have to pay anything because you got Medicare, you got, the healthcare system here is great. But in Philippines, in our country, for where we came from, it's just it's hard. So how
It's
much more
hard.
for those other countries? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
That's
I
true.
totally agree. And now you see, it's also on the news that because of the pandemic, hospitality workers ranks 8 for those in demand jobs, because they
Oh,
got cut, because a lot of
we got
people get laid off during the pandemic. And
so
because
now
of
we're
that,
opening
yeah.
up the borders and needing more people
Yeah.
to come.
So, but then one realization is, if something happens like this, we are no essential.
Yeah, that's true. That's why, having to go through all this, you can't really rely on your one source of income, no matter what
Yeah.
industry you're in. But
Yeah.
hospitality especially, because like you said, we're not essential workers. So you've got to look for another source of income. You can't stick to just that one, because you never know what could happen. So
that's very true.
and especially if you've
Now,
got, bills coming in and you've got
yeah,
nothing, like no income coming in, it's like, what are you
yeah.
gonna do?
Weekly
So
mortgage, weekly rents. Now you have your cars to pay, car insurance, kids going to school, all this stuff that people, think that, oh, having a source of income, it's okay. I still get paid. But what if another pandemic happens and you get laid off? Where are you going to get all this, this money to, to pay, to sustain
to
you,
survive, yeah,
to
correct,
survive? So
yeah,
I guess having the pandemic, aside from wishing that hopefully it happened, the good side of it is for people to see that this can happen. And
yes,
the good thing of this happening is for people to see that I have, or to give people an idea that I have to create another source of income.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
And not
that's
just
what
to
we're
rely
here.
on my job. And that's what we're here
That's correct.
for.
And
Yeah.
that's what we're here for. We're here to help you figure
Yeah.
out or look into that second source of
Mm.
income.
Yeah.
So
And there's really, it's not hard to try. I mean, I know that lots of people there are very skeptical. What if I fail? What if not? But you will never know until you check it. You try. And you do your own diligence to research, and that's the purpose of having internet nowadays, is for us to be more visible with everything that's going on. Before, we can only see news on newspapers, hear it from our neighbors, but now we can see it through our phones, through our online. And it's just the same of building a business. Back in the days, you only build a business at home, or somewhere else, you have to rent it out, have a place. But now you can have a business on your phone. It's
online. So
very.
let's see.
Oh, hello,
Coach
Kuya Mike, Coach
Kuya
Mike.
Mike, Kuya Mike, Coach Mike, he said, absolutely right. More sources of income mean more flexibility and more freedom. That's so true. Because who doesn't want more time freedom to do what they want to do, right?
Yeah,
I don't
that's
want to be
exactly
stuck
right.
behind a desk all my life or until I'm 65.
Yeah, and we are not capable of standing and carrying trays in a
Trays
hospitality industry
until
until we're 65
65.
years old. Yeah,
Well,
exactly
actually,
right.
I knew of someone who worked up till like they're about 70 in the hospitality
Mm.
industry. So
Yeah.
I don't want to be someone like that. So
Yeah.
that's
But
it.
luckily that we have this business now, we were able to see this business while we are still on our young age. We're still young.
Correct. You're still young, yeah. Anybody can do this, right?
Yeah, true.
Anyone wanting to
True. Anyone.
change their situation. So
If you have a strong will to change and see yourself in 5 years' time sitting in Hawaii, in Hawaiian beach,
oh, that'd
drinking
be nice.
tropical juice, then
Mojitos.
mojitos, and then
Mojitos, yeah.
you can do this. You can
Yes.
do this business. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
So
speaking of business, Jacqui,
yes.
how are they going to get information apart from sending us a message, but how can they get information through this business?
You guys can get information by watching our free complimentary workshops, which happens Tuesdays and Thursdays, 5 p.m. PST, or Wednesday and Fridays here in Australia. It is 8 a.m. Perth time. And what
And
time
10
is it?
a.m.
And 10
10
a.m.
a.m.
Sydney time. And that's
Yeah.
daylight savings coming up soon, right?
Mm-hmm.
All you've got
Daylight
to do
saving, it's
is
October.
October.
Or
So
you
all
can
you've got to do
search
go
5 p.m. PST and your location on Google, and that will give you the exact time of the webinar on your location. And how
Awesome.
can you watch that webinar? So you can see those links there below. It's www.jacquelineeugenio.com and www.celinazartiga.com. And register, it's for free. Register your full name and valid email address. Make sure it's full name and valid email address so we can send you the unique link to our complimentary workshop. And there,
Awesome.
we are going to what you call this one? We are going to show you on what this business is all about, and it's from, you can hear it from real people in real time.
Real time, and it's global,
Yeah.
so you never know who you'll be watching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. True.
All right, awesome. All right, guys,
So,
thank you for tuning in. Thanks for
so watch
another
our next
episode.
episode. Next episode,
Yes,
what we'll be
next
talking about
episode.
on our next episode for them to
Next
know.
episode is why we ventured into the online space and our life as digital business owners, I guess, and how it's changed our lives.
Yeah.
Jumping into this
Online business.
online business, yeah. So
watch out for that
awesome.
next episode, guys, and you can
Yeah.
comment below on what topics you want us to tackle, and we were more than happy to consider it. If we can, then yeah,
We'll do it. Awesome.
we'll do it.
All right. Until then, guys, take care, and we hope to see you soon, or on the inside, right?
Yeah, on the inside, virtually.
On the inside.
See ya. Bye. Thanks for watching.